Are you thinking about writing a book? Well, I have exactly the group for you. You need Shine Press in your life. They have a free 30-minute consultation that answers your questions and shows you what it would look like to become a Shine Press author. They're illuminating stories and empowering authors. Go to shine-press.com to learn more.
Welcome to Productive Joy with Dr. Christie, where fun meets action.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Productive Joy. Today is a great day to have a great day, and I am so excited to introduce you to my new friend, Scott. But before I do, I need you to follow this podcast. It is so important that you be getting all of the alerts that say, oh my goodness, great people like Scott are joining us today, and you need to know all about it. So do me that favor, subscribe, follow, and share it with your friends, because I think we all need a little more productive joy in our lives for sure. And today we're going to get that from our new friend, Scott Haug. So Scott is a lot of things. He is a manifestation coach. He is a fitness enthusiast. He's also a martial artist. He is a self-proclaimed bookworm, as you can see from all of the things behind him, but he specifically likes to learn a little bit about energy work and personal development, and he is our new best friend. So Scott, welcome to Productive Joy.
Thanks for having me on, Dr. Christie. I appreciate you.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. I think it's definitely going to be fun. And people are funny, speaking of, and they really only listen for about 30 seconds before they decide this is for me. So what would you say to our friends that would get them to be so excited to keep listening?
Listen, if you have an inclination that your life could be better off, that maybe you're not fulfilling all of your potential yet, you have some blocks, some limitations, maybe some chronic things going on internally, that you're one step away from a bigger and broader life, even though that's a big promise. There's some easy things you can be doing today that take maybe 5 minutes or less that can really bring yourself to that next level.
So wait, Scott, I didn't see you bring a wand with you, but what you're telling me is that we can have a better life just by doing some simple things. Is that pretty much it?
Yeah, let's do an easy example. Brushing our teeth takes 2 to 3 minutes twice a day.
I sure
It's
hope twice a
simple.
day. Yes, please.
Right. Me too. Or else maybe bad breath,
That's
right?
yucky.
But it's simple and it keeps our teeth clean for a lifetime, right? As long as we can. But that simple thing, if you don't do it for even 7 days, a month, it goes south very quickly.
Yeah.
So I really believe that a lot of the principles of growing our life and changing it are really the simple things, and they can be easy. They don't have to take forever.
I like that. What a good analogy too, right? Like that's something we do without thinking, but the reality is if we didn't, it would be a problem. Oh, I did know a girl that didn't brush her teeth before she went to the gym. And when we found that out, we thought, okay, I'm going to stand over here.
A little repellent, right?
Yeah, right. Like I guess maybe she didn't want us to be around her. Maybe that was it. Okay, so how cool that you have figured out some ways to channel who we are into being something even better and manifesting our proper destinies, which I'm really excited to hear about. But you didn't start there. You ended up there. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you ended up in this space?
Really started like most people with the big promise that if you go to college and you get a degree, get a great job, raise a family, retire, and that's supposed to be the happy life, right? That's the ideal life. And I went down that road because also I was good at math and science. So I figured engineering, maybe that's the route for me. Went to school. I did very well, got a high GPA with aeronautical and mechanical engineering. Sounds crazy and complex. And it was certainly hard, but I thought that was my path. So I went down that path. I got a job and I only lasted 6 months in the corporate space. Not because the people around or anything like that, but I was sitting in a cubicle and doing a lot of things that were just like, wait a second, this doesn't seem like me. It doesn't seem like this is the happiness that I was thinking. And I remember going back to my apartment at that time. I was living in Massachusetts. I grew up in New York. So it was my first time also kind of living in a different state and all that. But I remember coming back and I actually just started to cry. I was like, man, this is not it. I felt internally like I was dying. Like there was something, like a part of me, I didn't know what that was. Now I understand that part, but I just knew something was wrong. So I was talking to my family about it and things, and everyone said, "You're nuts for even thinking about leaving the job." I'm like, "I think I gotta go though."
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "You're throwing away." I had $100,000 in student loan debt,
Oh,
and people are like, "You're nuts." I said, "I'm gonna do it though." And I put in my 2 weeks notice and I said, "I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go find, maybe it's the job." That's why I first blamed. So it led me to doing an aerospace job. I was like, this has got to be this is awesome stuff. It was in Las Vegas. I was like, this has got to be a cool thing. So I flew over there. I got the job right in the interview. And 5 days before that job was going to start, the manager calls me up as a private company. He says, "Scott, I really don't know what to tell you. You bought a vehicle. You're already living here. You brought your life over here, but we lost funding and I don't have a job for you on Monday."
oh gosh.
And that day, it shocked me so much. I was like, I'm never going to allow this fake promise of this happy life and these engineering careers and all this thing to run my life and what I'm going to decide for me.
Mm.
And since that day, is many years ago now, but since that day, I said, I'm going to try and be an entrepreneur. I'm going to try and figure life out. And long story short, it really brought me to the moment of personal development because at that time I was feeling depressed, was feeling down and out. I was lost. I mean, 22 years old, you have this huge career and nothing's going your way. And I just felt like I was in darkness. And somehow, some way, I just started to have a opening of maybe something's in me that can change. I'm so grateful I had that mindset, whatever that was that initiated that said, let me find a way. And
Hmm.
that's what led me to the entrepreneur journey that I started on
Wow.
in that sense.
What a great story. And for a lot of different reasons. I think the biggest one for me right this minute is that you listened to that inner voice. How many people probably listening right now sat in a job for a lot longer than 6 months, or maybe they're sitting in that job right now and are doing it because they think they're supposed to, right? So I recently interviewed somebody who said we have to stop shoulding ourselves. You have to be careful how you say that. But the idea is, I should keep this job because it's stable. I should go to work every day because I have no other options. But you didn't should yourself. You instead thought, I'm going to try something different. Where did you learn that? Did somebody teach you that? Like, did you grow up knowing that you had choices, or what did that look like? I know you said, I'm not sure what the thing was, but where did you learn it?
Yeah. A lot of my clients say the same thing, and that's why they come to me often as well as they feel stuck. I mean, if especially if family, you had to put food on the table, pay the bills, and it feels like there's no way out. How I found that, I think, was a little bit of some sort of divinity, something higher there for sure. But it was an opening that just felt natural to me of like, if I keep going this route, I don't feel like I will be making life happen for me. I just don't feel like it felt right. And when you're by somebody or a place or something, you're just kind of like, oh, that feels a little off. And you're by other people and are like, this feels on, this feels
Yeah.
good. If you can learn to tap into that intuition, it'll always bring you to a place long term. Sometimes short term is going to be challenges with it. Like it was for me. It was like making that big jump and it's opened up a whole pool of new things for me. Right. But
Yeah.
that was good. It made me grow. But if you can start to sense, what is my heart telling me? If you could just learn to listen to it. And I really believe that as you hear that whisper, it'll tell you some things on how to get out. If you can get out of that logical moment just for a second, listen for 30 seconds. What soul or heart or whatever you want to call it, what are you trying to share?
Yeah.
What are you trying to show me?
Mm.
And if you could just listen, it doesn't mean you need to make the jump, doesn't mean you need to do something radical, but if you can just listen, that's the first step, I believe. And that's what happened to me. Went
Wow.
through me, really.
Yeah, and you did it at a young age, and you did it, and it sounds like you've kind of done it your whole life, where you now listen first, and then you might not leap immediately, but you might step, right? Like sometimes it's a leap, sometimes it's a step. I'm dying to know though, before we go any further, did you stay in Vegas or did you go home? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you're not there now, but
Right. So in Vegas, I stayed for a couple of weeks trying to figure out life. And the motivational speaker, Les Brown, was speaking. I started to listen to him on YouTube all day. I just have him in my headphones, like saying it's possible and all these other great mottos. He was doing a seminar in Anaheim, California, 4-hour drive. I had already had a car. I'm like, I don't want to fly back home. I'm going to go and see this seminar. I want to go see him live. So I did that. I drove over. And then he had another seminar in Los Angeles, which is, an hour and a half drive with traffic. And I was like, I'm going to go to that one too. So I went to these seminars and I ended up staying in LA for about 4 years after that, because I said, if I go back to where I was used to doing things and saying, I'm going to go to this career, I'm going to go back to the old me. And it felt right to stay in LA and really just find myself and find what I was meant to do. And it ultimately led me to doing multiple different entrepreneur paths, and it all fell through too at the same time. I tried Amazon, eBay, drop shipping, all these different things, and it just never really worked out. And finally, I found Bob Proctor. He became my first mentor. He was featured in The Secret. He was like the main teacher there. And for me, his teachings just shared programming and changing your subconscious and paradigm shifting and all of this. And he had a seminar also in LA. I was like, this is all lining up somehow, some way. It's all like this synchronistic way. And that's what embarked me on my coaching career, was that moment. So I actually stayed over there for quite a bit of time.
Yeah. All right. Well, I was actually born in Vegas, which is a rare thing. Like, people really do actually get born there.
Right.
And so I lived there until I was 11. Both my brothers still do. But it's an interesting place for sure. Not necessarily what I would recommend, but there are lovely parts of it for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so let's back up to what you have discovered works. You're talking to a bunch of leaders who are leading others down the right paths, they hope, right? And wanting to do so while evoking productive joy, while creating for their people the urge to stick around. Because the reality is, people quit things that aren't fun. So how do you create that space in the workplace? And so what would you say to them, or what exercise would you teach them that would help them do a little bit more of that in the workspace, whether it's personally or for others?
I think being able to build any joy in any environment, we have to see, where does the joy come from? Where does the happiness come from? What is that energy? And a lot of people will say, well, if I'm angry, it's because of something that he did or she did, or environment wise, right? But a great example would be, you have traffic that's built up and you have two people in traffic. One is so angry and insulting people and just ready to just ride as fast as possible going through everybody, right? And then another person has the windows down, hanging out, music on, they're chilling, they're hanging out, and they're having a good time. One is very angry and one is very happy. The angry person would say, why are you angry? Say, it's the traffic. The happy person would say, why are you happy? Well, I don't know, I'm just choosing to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it really come down to? It's a choice that's going on within. So I think in any workplace or any team, it starts with your thinking of, what is my perspective about the scenario? What's my perspective about the team? What's my perspective about what's going on here? It's a choice. And then that will start to induce the joy or happiness, or the opposite side, something that's very frustrating or not so good.
Yeah, it's all about what we choose to see, right? Like, so the good and the bad are both always there, and where we put our focus is what we're going to see. I talk about that sometimes. Our kids have always played a game called, well, it was called Juicy originally, and it was anytime you saw a yellow car. We have changed it to Who Goes So now to be, for whatever reason. But when we're playing that game, it is amazing how many yellow cars you see. But if you're not playing the game, you don't notice any yellow cars. It's not something you're looking for. So I love that. So first and foremost, we need to make that choice of, I'm going to look at the good or the bad. Both are a choice. Then what? Then how do I stay focused on that thing? How do I continue to make good things happen?
Yeah, I think it comes down to, it's a skill almost. And if you're building any skill, it involves a lot of conscious practice.
Mm.
If momentum is going one way in your life, and maybe for your whole life, you've always felt down, or you've always felt this way, or your parents were always a certain way in environment, right? It's getting into the habit, and habits are sometimes hard to create and then also keep for lasting change. So what if you could do for 5 minutes a day, coming back to simple exercises, 5 minutes a day, let me look around my environment, my home. Let's start there in the beginning of the morning. let me find some things that are very good in the place. Okay, well, I have electricity. I am grateful that I didn't have to put all the wiring in and also generate the electricity. I can actually just flip on a light switch and I'm good, right?
Mhm.
That's really good. So you're almost doing a little gratitude there. And then you're also looking at what else is good in the environment. Well, it's good that the roof isn't caving in. The walls are standing. I'm set. I'm safe, right? So if you practice this, give yourself maybe 30 days an accountability chart. I did it today, did it tomorrow. It becomes something you get good at. And it doesn't have to be. A lot of people say, well, I wasn't born like that. Well, that's okay. Maybe you weren't born to be already from day one a great pianist or a great dancer, but maybe you cultivated that later in life, or you took dance lessons, or you learned a second language. But it all took practice to get there. And I think mindset's the same way. It's practice rather than you're born into an environment and can't escape it or change. If you practice that, it'll change your direction.
Hmm. I mean, simple doesn't mean easy, right?
Yes.
But I love the simplicity of just look around. What are 5 things that you can appreciate? Do they always need to be different things, or can you use the same 5 2 days in a row?
I would say as long as you feel the gratitude, same things or different things, doesn't even matter. I think it's more, do I actually feel grateful? Or am I saying it like, I'm grateful for the drinking water I have. I'm grateful for the, right? You're
Right.
not embodying it. It's not going to do anything. It's just noise.
Yeah.
So I've done some of the same things in my own home day after day after day. And as long as you're really feeling the gratitude or feeling, let me find the good in this, I think that's the biggest principle. So.
I like it. I like it. Okay. So I asked you how somebody might create productive joy, but I didn't ask you my favorite question yet. So, how would you define productive joy? Describe it to me?
Yeah. I think from my standpoint, it's a great mix of masculine and feminine energies together, the awakened side of them. The awakened side of the masculine is certainly still very ambitious, but also very present internally with awareness, right? And the awakened feminine is more of that spontaneous dance of feeling. So, productive joy in a workplace, in your business, in your job, at the home, what I see it as, you're heading towards your goal in a efficient way. You're getting things done. You're focused, but you are feeling your wholeness while doing it.
Mm.
So your quality of life in every moment isn't just getting stuff done, but it's enjoying how you're getting it done moment to moment. And that's what I would define it as.
I love that. And I've not had anybody define it that way. Yeah, honestly, out of the 120 some odd episodes that we're on right now, I've only had a couple very minor crossovers, which is cool.
Mm.
But nobody has explained it. I hear it, I see it, that masculine, feminine, productive joy. That's cool.
Mm.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Scott. That's one of my favorites. You said heading to the goal efficiently, but feeling whole while doing it. It was my quick note interpretation. Do you think that, well, we know because you left that the first 6 months of your career, you were not feeling that productive joy. Does what you do today, this day, create productive joy for you?
I would say 95% of the time. And the
Right.
5% that I don't, it's because I get lost in trying to get something done.
Mhm.
And it happens to, I have to always bring myself back as a reminder because we all have a lot going on. If you're an entrepreneur, if you are a full-time mother, if you are full-time business and a job on the side, whatever that is, we have so much going on that's like so hard. You lose yourself in it in a negative way sometimes. It's like, I just need to get this stuff done and then I can take a breath and watch some TV or just sit down, right? And sometimes I'll get lost in that trap if I got lots going on. I have to come back because here's how I know I will feel drained at the end of the day if I lose consciousness and I'm not whole. But I can have a list of morning till night things going on. As long as I'm present and in that wholeness, there's no drain. I feel alive at the end of it.
Mm.
I might feel tired physically,
Right.
but I feel alive energetically. And that's how I know, oh, I missed it today or
Yeah.
I was on today.
Well, and that's the difference between the meeting that sucks your soul dry and an interview like this with you, right? This is energizing for me. This is one of those moments where I am just genuinely curious about humans and I want to learn more. That is who I am to my core. So that to me is productive joy. That is what I'm trying to do. The meeting where it could have been an email and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me right now. Please make that stop. That's the soul suck.
Yes. I think that that soul suck and that soul energy is really our zone of genius. It's who we are.
Yeah.
And for anybody that's like, sometimes I don't know what my zone of genius is or what is that? I always say, what do you feel like you could do endless hours of?
Yeah.
What would you do for free without earning any money? What would you, at 3 a.m. in the morning, you're talking around a campfire with amazing friends that want to talk about the subject. What could you talk about freely for hours? And that's the thing. That's most likely all tied in with your zone. And I think if you take a couple of minutes and really answer those questions, you'll know.
All right, listeners, you heard it here. This is what you need to be doing. And so take a few minutes, maybe right now, press pause and just think about what is it? What is my zone of genius? What is my spot where I am exactly where I belong? I had a guest recently talk about that too, and she said she called it your unique genius, but the same concept, right? The idea that this is the thing that comes really easy to you that everybody else goes, how did you just do that? Like that was so amazing, and you're like, no, really, that was just a thing. But when it's your thing, it's really special. How cool. So who do you do this for? How do you do this out in the world? What do you do to help others be able to figure this stuff out too?
So the engineering mind that I had, the plus side of it was I'm a systems thinker, meaning I can take a lot of stuff and then say, how do we make it step by step? So that's part
Yeah.
of my zone of genius. So when I work with my clients, basically what I do is, okay, what's your biggest recurring challenge? I need it recurring, not just like today, something happened. We'll talk about that. But what is something that's over and over and over? And one of those big things, for example, for my clients will be, I have money come in and I have money go out. And then I might have a big money come in 1 month and then the same money goes out. So they can't hold abundance for some reason. So, okay, we say there's the big recurring problem. What's your desire? I want more financial abundance. I want to feel more lavish. I just want to have more at the end of the month. Okay. So we have our aiming point. Let's connect the dots. What's going on there? And I'll go through my various modalities that even I teach on my YouTube channel for free, but then I customize them to my clients. So, for example, almost always in that scenario, the person's nervous system capacity cannot handle abundance right now because the money, when they have abundance, feels like a threat. Now, that's crazy to people. Why is money a threat? Because we learned it at a very early age. We might have heard our parents say something about wealthy people or rich people or something like that. And we learn the association, abundance, no good, right? So then we go through a couple of modalities that will help them get to a place and then we hold them accountable. Let's make sure that we're doing the practice like you talked about. Simple, not easy, as you mentioned so beautifully. Let's make sure that you're on track. Let's make sure things are moving forward. And that's kind of the system that we do with almost every client. The only thing that changes is the recurring challenge, desire, and then what modality we'll put in place to make it click overall. So.
All right. And you have, like, you're a no joke YouTube channel kind of guy, right? So how did that start? Did you just decide, okay, other people need to see this? Or did one of your clients say, hey, let's put this out there, or what?
I had a mentor that stretched me.
Mm.
And he said, you're doing great. You've worked with a lot of clients. You became one of Bob Proctor's #1 coaches. You are doing great, but you don't have people really finding you and getting free value and free knowledge. And where you're going is more volume. So it's you're playing small.
Mm. Mhm.
And he said, what I would suggest is you go all in on YouTube. And no matter how much you have to figure out how to make it work and the consistency of it, just do it. And I was really scared actually at the time. Like I was like, oh, it's so much work. I'm so
How
busy.
long ago was this that you started?
Let's see here. So it was 4 years ago, I believe.
So
3
2020,
4
pandemic-y.
years. Yeah. Yeah. Just around there. It was 2020, 2021, somewhere
Yeah,
around.
I guess we are in 2025, aren't we? Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah. So it's been about 3.5 years, consistent, putting out 3 videos every week. Now we do 1 a week, somewhere around there. We haven't in a couple of months, but we have new videos coming out.
Okay, so how would people find you if they wanted to see you on YouTube and learn more?
Yeah. So it's Scott and then Haug is the last name. You could just type right there. It'll come up. Scott Haug official is the handle on all my social media. So it all matches up. So
Right.
it's easy to just type it in or type in Scott Haug Law of Attraction, and you'll find those videos come up pretty quick.
Well, I think that's awesome. And I want my listeners to find you because you have this presence that just is calming, but also I hear your engineering mind, if that makes sense, right? So every engineer I've ever known, whether they are practicing or not, have the ability to put puzzles together, right? And that's what I can tell you are doing for people in their minds so that really amazing things can happen. Well done, sir. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. It might be all those books behind you. Maybe that has something to do.
Probably, yeah. A lot of study. People are like, I remember somebody coming over the other day and they were looking at the library and they're like, this is really great. It's like, do you have enough books? I'm like, well, I'm just kind of getting started. So,
Do you have a
but
favorite? If you could share a favorite book of all the books that you've read, which one stands out?
so Neville Goddard is the author and it's
Okay.
Power of Awareness.
Power of Awareness.
Yes. And then my second favorite is The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles.
Who introduced you to those books?
Bob Proctor. He was my first teacher
Yeah.
and mentor, and he studied those so many. I mean, he read the same things over and over to really live it.
Sure.
And he suggested those early on. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Scott, I could spend all day with you, but I know you probably have other things to do. So I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions. Is that okay?
sure. Absolutely. Let's do
You
it.
ready? Well, I'm excited
Yes.
to hear your answers. Okay. Question number one. What is your definition of fun?
Fun is something that you find enjoyable and often with variety.
Hmm. I like that with variety. Speaking of nothing related, but I'm just curious. You said you're a martial artist. Which one? Which martial art?
Karate. Yeah, I've been doing karate since I was 3 because my parents owned a karate school.
Oh,
So
nice.
I got a black belt early on, and all that stuff helped with discipline and focus and all that.
100%. And you still practice today?
Yeah, it's a way less often, but I do it like once a week just to get in class and train and stuff. So,
That's awesome. Well done, sir. Okay, well done. How do you know that you are showing up as your authentic self?
mm. Can I look at myself in the mirror and feel good about who I see? Or do I feel a little twinge,
Mm.
little change?
Hmm. You know, I think if we all took that advice, we would be a whole lot better society, wouldn't we?
Oh, yeah.
If we just took a minute to go, do I like that person? And if you can't say yes, what are you doing? Huh.
Yeah.
That's
Some
good.
internal work needed, I think.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. All right. How do you channel your best self on your worst days?
Mm. I try and really be present with my emotions. This was a long path for me to get through, but however I'm feeling, I stop the day. I try and feel it the best I can, and I accept it for what it is. I'm here. I might be down. I might be really frustrated. Something's going on. Let me be with it and let me understand it as if it's like an inner child.
Mm.
What are you needing? What are you wanting? What's going on? Let me understand. Don't push it away. Let me understand. Not easy to do. It takes time. It takes energy, but so worth it.
Definitely worth it because then it's not the external factors that are affecting us, it's the internal factors, and we can control those. We can't control many of the external ones, right? Our sphere of influence is a lot bigger than our sphere of control. Okay, I love that. All right, last question, and this one's going to be tough. So, you've said a lot of brilliant things in the last 30 minutes, and you kind of gave us some ideas and some things to think about. But if people can really only latch on to one thing that you said, what's the one takeaway you really want people to have?
Yeah, I would say that if you can believe that there's something bigger out there, the invisible forces, that there's quantum physics that are proving this now. If you can believe there's something out there, that it's possible for you to change your life and manifest something different, keep your mind open to it and commit yourself to learning how it works. And if you have that drive to say, I'm going to figure this, I'm going to study it and I'm going to learn it and I'm going to practice it, your life can really change. And no matter where you're at, it doesn't matter what circumstance you're at, there is a possibility that your life, where you're wanting to go, can happen. And if you can hold that, that's going to be everything for you.
I love that. Well, thank you, Scott, because I know you could have been doing a lot of other things, but you chose to spend this time with our Productive Joy friends, and you gave us some beautiful nuggets of wisdom that we could use. So thank you so much for being our guest.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Christie. And thank you for everyone listening just by even showing up and wanting to do something bigger. I think that's just the best quality in somebody. So I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. You are so right. And so you got a whole bunch of nuggets of wisdom today, and I'm hopeful that you will grab one or two and that you will put them into practice because it is your day to figure out a way to turn fun into action.